The Business Development Bank of Canada is facing a backlash this morning from current and former employees. They're questioning the multi-million-dollar contracts the Crown Corporation awarded to consulting firm McKinsey, as well as questionable spending choices by senior leadership. Daniel Leblanc is with us this morning. He's with Radio-Canada, but giving us some time. Daniel, and thank you very much for doing so from Ottawa. He's been looking into this story. Daniel, we're talking about contracts awarded to McKinsey that are worth nearly $5 million. Tell us more about them and the work that McKinsey was being paid to do.
Yeah, so one of the first things that Isabelle Hudon, the CEO of the BDC, did when she got the job in 2021 was to decide to launch a strategic review and to hire external consultants to do so. So basically at the same time that she came into the BDC, McKinsey also came in. They looked at they do a lot of work. They ask a lot of questions of employees, get information, and then they develop some ambitious goals, long-term goals for the BDC. So the BDC, with the help of McKinsey, basically decided to, over the next 10 years, triple the number of clients that do business with the BDC. These are small, medium-sized businesses. Also to increase the value of the portfolio at the BDC by more than 250% over 10 years. Some of the people inside the BDC think those objectives will be hard to achieve. They're fairly hefty changes. The BDC says they will, they're still working on these long-term projections, will adapt them to economic trends, but that they want to work with more companies owned by women, by visible minorities, by First Nations. And so Isabelle Hudon is someone who brings a lot of change to an organization when she comes in. There might be some people who are unhappy with some of the changes that have been made, including the hiring of McKinsey to do this long-term planning instead of doing it in-house.
And that's just one part of the story, Danielle. As I understand it, there are also revelations about other expenses that have caused waves with BDC staffers. What have you learned about those?
Yeah, so Isabelle Hudon went twice to BC last year, and both times she brought her driver from Montreal to Vancouver to drive her around in British Columbia, once to do a little quick back and forth visit over one day to Whistler instead of hiring local means of transportation. The other time it was a few more days in British Columbia. So that's made some waves. There's also an event that was organized in June of last year by the BDC. It was an internal event in hybrid mode, so some people in person, some people online. The cost of the contracts, just the external contracts to organize that event, is more than $320,000, including the Master of Ceremony, who was paid $11,500. Some people raise questions about the value or what that event achieved, especially considering the costs for an hour-long event at $320,000.
Daniel, thank you so much. Radio-Canada's Daniel Leblanc in Ottawa. And if you'd like to read more about his reporting on this matter, it's up on the front page today. That's at CBCNews.ca.